Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 4 of our F1 2021 Alpine mod career mode, where today we're here back for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Obviously, if you guys missed out on the last video from Monaco, I would definitely recommend going back and checking out 3 brilliant races so far this season. You can see currently though, your championship order, it is Max Verstappen still at the top of your standings there. 6 points separate him and Lewis Hamilton, who keep trading race victories at the early stage of this season there. The ever-consistent Charles Leclerc up into P3 there, just ahead of Bottas and myself. They're currently sat in at P5, but the likes of Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso are rapidly closing in on the points. But yeah, a massive thank you as well, obviously, before we jump into this video, for all of you guys. Obviously, we've ticked over 14,000 subscribers. We're also now ticked over 14,100 as well. You know, the growth has been absolutely insane over the last few weeks, so I cannot thank you guys enough for the continued support. But yeah, let's dive in then here to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend. So here we are then, ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here from Baku. Hopefully, obviously we can try and get a good lap hooked up around this circuit. In terms of setup, obviously we're going to run very low aero around this track. Obviously this track should be good for the car. It is a very low downforce circuit, and of course the car very quick down the straight, so fingers crossed we can have another good result this weekend. Although I say that, we had our best result of the year last time out at Monaco, so who really knows as to what to expect this weekend. Hopefully though, of course, we can try and get a podium like we saw from our teammate Fernando Alonso last time out, at least once over the course of the season. I'd like to believe there is the potential for a podium, yeah, like I said, at least once over the course of the year. But anyway, just making the last couple of adjustments to the setup. And let's head out then for qualifying here in Azerbaijan. Hopefully we can get a nice tidy lap hooked up. There's a real potential to try and get our best qualifying position of the year. We've had 2 9th places so far. We'd love to try and get, you know, sort of a top 6, if possible, at some point over the course of this championship as we head through turn 1. That was fairly nice and tidy. Hamilton just making a little bit of ground on us though as we head through turn 2. Trying to just short shift a little bit to avoid the wheel spin, as now it's Bottas up into the lead. Are we going to see 3 different pole position? No, we're already in round 4, so we're not going to see 3 different pole drivers in the first 3 Grand Prix like we have in the real life season. As we head down through the end of Sector 1. So far, so good this lap. We're hovering around the top 10, but again, we should be rapid in the second half of the lap. Try and get a good run, trying to avoid the wheel spin, any mistakes, anything like that, as we head down in towards the castle section. Try and take as much curb there as you dare, but avoid letting the car bounce towards the outside wall. Through turn 8, that was fairly tidy. Not a bit conservative as you chuck it up towards the top of the hill. Try and get on the power. That corner I really struggle with. Just had the bravery to maintain the momentum around there. As we head back down the other side though, through the old part of the town. Brake just before the end of the curb. Never been able to be aggressive through there, I'll be honest, as we skim the wall on the exit. Won't do any damage though, which is tyre face to wall through the final proper corner of the lap. Oh, big snap of oversteer there, but hopefully we still should be able to get a good run up towards the start-finish line. Let's try and see if this top-end speed does come into it. We're currently sat in P10. Are we going to be able to move back up the order though? Is this a drag race down to the line? You just watch the clock tick up and up slowly but surely. We're still in P10, P9. Are we going to be able to get P8? No. Our 3rd P9 of the year? That's okay. So there we go. It is Valtteri Bottas who takes pole position there as the Mercs, the only cars to get sub 100 seconds around this circuit there. Max Verstappen in P3, the lowest position he's started all year. He's had front row starts in every other Grand Prix so far there. Carlos Sainz very close behind him, but Stroll as well. Aston Martin looking very quick this weekend there. Yeah, Stroll able to split the Ferraris. All 3 of those drivers there separated by just 14 thousandths of a second in the end. Sebastian Vettel up in P7. You can see Alonso and myself separated by just 8 thousandths of a second as well there, with Daniel Ricciardo right behind us rounding out the top 10. Then you got Sergio Perez down in 11th place there, still not getting to grips with that Red Bull, and then you can see the rest of your grid order as well. Let's dive in then here to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So here we are then, here once more in Baku, ready for round 4 of the season for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Been a while since this race was this early on in the calendar. We've sort of got used to it being sort of a mid-stage season race nowadays in the world of Formula 1. But a 6-kilometre track, 20 turns around here. Obviously, a lot of them 90-degree corners in the first and final sector of the lap. But certainly, yeah, it's become a bit of a fan favourite, I want to say, over recent years, especially for a modern track. It's done quite well for itself in the world of Formula 1 racing. Obviously, a nice variation between sort of the first sector, like I said, very high speed, a lot of 90-degree corners. The second half of the lap has a bit more sort of flow. It's sort of got a little bit more sort of older street circuit vibes, in my personal opinion, when you see race around the older part of the town. But hopefully this weekend, of course, we can have another good result in this Grand Prix there. Charles Leclerc actually having a very, very good solid start to the season, like we said, but it is the Mercs blocking out the front row this weekend, and just like we saw in Portugal yesterday, seems like Mercedes here just having an advantage over the Red Bull of Max Verstappen as well, who of course is still Lewis Hamilton's big title threat this early stages of the World Championship though. But yeah, having a quick rundown then of the grid here for round 4 of the year in Azerbaijan. Bottas on the pole ahead of Lewis Hamilton there in P2, and then of course we have still got Max Verstappen in P3, half a second behind there. Carlos Sainz, in P4 ahead of Stroll and Charles Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, myself, and Daniel Ricciardo rounding out your top 10 there with Perez, Gasly, Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, and then Nikita Mazepin, George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Kimi Räikkönen, Giovinazzi, and Nicholas Latifi there rounding out your order as well here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But yeah, let's head down to the track then. Round 4 of the year. Let's get it. So here we are then, ready on the grid for round 4 of the year here in Azerbaijan. Hopefully, again, we can try and move our way through the order. Every Grand Prix so far, we've actually made up spots from our starting position. We just seem to be able to get into a good groove over the course of the races. Obviously, going to run a bit of spare fuel this weekend. You really want to use it just to get down the front straightaway. But getting through lap 1 clean and tidy as well, of course, is always crucial around this circuit. But yeah, let's dive in then here. Round 4 of the championship from Azerbaijan as we're waiting on those 5 red lights. We've got new threats from Aston Martin in front. It's 5 red lights. And it is lights out, and away we go, off to a good start. Actually, we might try and have a look around the outside of our teammate Alonso, down in towards turn 1. There is all Stroll and Vettel just in front of us, almost making contact, but we have gone round our teammate. I think Perez has followed us past him there as well. Just nowhere to go through turn 2. A lot of contact. I think that was between our teammate and Sergio Perez through turn 2 there, but I think Alonso has made the move work, as I think Verstappen and Hamilton going side by side just up the road there. Hamilton actually under pressure from Carlos Sainz as well. It has been a dramatic start to this Azerbaijan Grand Prix there, as Bottas is just romping away at the start of this one there. And now look at that, Leclerc trying to look past Carlos Sainz as we head down in towards Sector 2 here. This is great for Aston Martin and ourselves as we just get bunched up behind them at the start of this Grand Prix. But yeah, a lot of battling, a lot of people trying to make gains at the start of this Grand Prix. Verstappen's up 1 spot, Hamilton's back down. Charles Leclerc's up 1 spot ahead of Lance Stroll there. And we have jumped our teammate Fernando Alonso, so a lot of movers at the start of this Grand Prix. Perez as well up inside the top 10 as we head out of the final, well, in towards the final sector of the lap even, I should say. But a good start to this Grand Prix. Let's see if we can build on it. It's always quite funny heading up to Baku. Obviously, the nature of this circuit really does mean that really you get sort of a lot of excitement at the start as everyone tries to make big gains, and everyone kind of settles down rather quickly there, as you can see already. The Mercedes and Max Verstappen romping clear off into the distance as we come towards the end of lap 2. We're just trying to hang on in the DRS of the Aston Martin and Sebastian Vettel in front of us here, as we have saved a lot of DRS at the start of this Grand Prix. But look at how quick the Aston Martin is. We thought we had a quick package down the straight, so that thing is a weapon. As Bottas sets a 43.3 there. Hamilton goes even faster on a 42.6. We set a 43.5, so not that far off the top, guys. Just obviously starting to lose a bit of time there as we almost wallop the outside wall through turn 1. That was rather close. The Ferraris again going side by side. I said how things had calmed down. And now we might all be able to close back in again. It's a bit of an accordion effect around here with all the Constantina and up. Look at that. I think one of the Astons has gone for it. Lance Stroll has tried to make big moves there. Has he got past both of them? That's not going to help us, however. And that is pretty much going to put us to the rear of the field in this Grand Prix. I was too busy looking at the cars in front. Realised we just about missed our braking point. And now we've got a lot of work to do. team recommending a new strategy, saying we should come in even earlier onto the mediums. I'm tempted to be honest, to pit now and just try to go really long, try and undercut a load of the back market cars. But not sure it's the right choice to make just yet. Let's see now through the twisty bits just how much we close back up to this huge train of cars in front of us. Didn't really have many ambitions to be battling with the back markers this weekend, but unfortunately, silly mistakes like that are going to leave you battling with these guys, especially so early on in the Grand Prix. God, look how slow Latifi is. Come on, man. We might be able to try and get a run up the hill into the casual section. No. And definitely don't want to try and go side by side into here as well. Latifi almost hits the outside wall as he just had a bit of a compromised run in. We almost walloped the wall on the exit. There was still more wheel spin. Not happy with the car's balance at this stage of the day. As now, look at that. Let's see if he gets a big run on Raikkonen down the hill. Is he going to look for it? I don't think he's going to be able to. We're going to come into the pits at the end of the slip, try and get some clear air, I think, in this Grand Prix. As we head through the final proper corner of the lap. Are we going to be able to make some ground, though? Potentially try and get past a couple of these guys through the final chicane. Very, very easy now in a modern Formula 1 car. It was a bit of a challenge back in 2016, but since then, yeah, it's very much become a bit of a nothing corner. Rather unfortunately. Back down towards turn 1, however. Well, we're not going to dive back down towards turn 1. That was maybe a bit aggressive into the pit lane there, but we have held on to it. That would have been rather... I mean, we've already had one embarrassing moment this Grand Prix. That would have been even worse. 2.8 second stop, however, is pretty decent, actually, based on the team so far this year. Let's head back out onto the circuit, though. Of course, that being our last stop, hopefully, of the Grand Prix. Now we can try and undercut as many of the back markers as possible over the next 2 laps. Got a few guys into the pits there, as Ricciardo's actually got onto a set of hard tyres. Trying to get to the end of the Grand Prix. Not too sure what that's about. Lance Stroll as well, also in the pit lane, so hopefully we'll get a rough idea if he's just come back out. So we have jumped the Williams and the Haas. So we have back down towards someone. In fact, we've jumped them both quite comfortably in this Grand Prix, but we're still about 9 seconds behind Danny Rick. And I don't even think he was in the points, was he, prior to now?
The car ahead of you has just fitted the hard tyres. Car ahead now on the hard compound.
Lando Norris out of the Grand Prix. We've got a safety car. Is it worth picking onto another set of softs? I mean, it's really changed up the order there. Danny Kvyat out of the Grand Prix as well. So not too sure what's happened there in this race. Let's go find out. Well, it seems really odd, but all I can see on the replays is Lando Norris has already lost his wheel. And if you ride on balls with Yuki Tsunoda, just completely goes into the back of him at about 190 miles an hour. And I mean, there's more cars coming in behind. I think they do all get round him in the end. I think one of the Alfa Romeos gets a bit stuck behind him. Have a quick look. Yeah, I think you can see one of the Alphas there for just a brief moment stuck behind him. But no idea what that was about with the AI. It also means, look at that, Fernando Alonso, our teammate, is out of the Grand Prix as well, as we're going to come back in onto a fresh set of these soft compound tyres to get to the end of this Grand Prix. But yeah, massive 3-car shunt then in this race. We're just going to completely rebunch up the field. We're going to try and gamble and get to the end on a fresher set of rubber. Verstappen's out as well. He's got a 5-second penalty. He's down at turn 1, so I've got no idea what's gone on in this Grand Prix. But we've got 4 cars out, including championship leader Max Verstappen. What on earth has happened here? Well, I had another quick look on the cameras, and it appears that Max Verstappen's engine failed around the same time we saw that massive shunt there. I'm guessing Max Verstappen had the engine failure. Lando Norris came through the final few corners. Obviously, completely crashed into the back of him with nowhere to go, walloped to the wall. Obviously, the car then trundled down the front straight. Yuki Tsunoda then flew into the back of him. And I'm guessing when the Alfa Romeo got a bit confused, Fernando went round him and then crashed on the way into the pits. It really doesn't make any sense, but that's the best I can make of it. 4 laps to go then of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We've now got Pierre Gasly in the lead of the race. I think he's still got a pit though, so there is a big opportunity for George Russell and potentially Giovinazzi to try and score some points here in a titanic battle going on, of course, between Haas, Williams and Alfa Romeo here. So whichever one of their cars does get the points is pretty much decided to finish P8 in the championship here, unless, of course, saying that Gasly has made the pit stop and is genuinely leading this Grand Prix. As we get ready to go racing once more, we should be quick between now and the end. But has... Oh, look at how slow the Alfa Romeo Raikkonen was back down in towards turn 1. We won't gain the place off the track, but we will get the power down way earlier on the exit of the corner here. Is Raikkonen going to try and keep the nose there? Yes, he is. Tiny bit of contact between myself and the Alfa Romeo, but we do hold on, and we do make up one spot straight away off this restart here, and we have been gifted a golden opportunity to try and score some points still between now and the end of this Grand Prix. But yeah, the big question, has Gasly pit? I don't think he has. I can't work out how he would have possibly made his way right up to the front of the field if he had, unless of course everyone else got held up massively or something bizarre happened. But if he can hold on, fair play. We're going to try and get past these backmarker cars though, as Latifi's actually going to go defensive on us as we head down the hill around the outside. Not often you see a move there, but we do get it done clean and tidy, and that was probably the best move I think I've made all year. Around the outside of Latifi, down the hill out of the castle section. And now we're going to try and get a big run on Antonio Giovinazzi. How is the power unit in the back of that Alfa Romeo? It's definitely not as quick as the Alpine, as we just skim the outside wall. Should have away with that without any damage though, as we should be able to soar our way straight back up into 11th place then. So 3 spots made up of this restart. There goes Pierre Gasly. So we are now going to be up into the points of the Grand Prix. Russell up into 9th place of this race, but even if we do jump him, George Russell is still going to be in the points here in Azerbaijan. This could be massive. You guys know I do really like George Russell, so if I do get past him, I'm going to try and throw away as little time as possible for him. That's all we think about trying to get up the inside there. George Russell might not be my biggest fan though, as he completely slams the door shut through the next couple of corners here. And despite everything, we could be back up to where we started in this Grand Prix. There's an Aston Martin though. It must be Sebastian Vettel, who is still applying the pressure to the mugs. Could he potentially get between them and ruin what has pretty much worked out to be a perfect afternoon for Mercedes there? Their main title rival, Max Verstappen, falling to the wayside early on. It's all Russell. Come on, man, you've got to be a bit quicker than that. Right, we're going to have to relegate George Russell back into 10th place here, as Ricciardo, just in front of him, is still on a set of the hard compound tyres. Why didn't McLaren just box him again? Put him on some quick rubber. He could have probably still ended up where he's going to finish in this Grand Prix there, as we get a big run on George Russell. Not really a lot the Williams man's going to be able to do, but it's not a bad car down the straights. That being said, we'll tuck back into the slipstream of Ricciardo in front of him, as we are completely draining the battery at this stage of the day. Back into 9th place of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And Ricciardo surely isn't going to be much of a challenge either. Still, like I said, on those hards, he's just not going to be able to put the power down out of this first sector, as we got DRS again in this Grand Prix. DRS, ERS, rich revs, everything like that. So we head down the next straightaway, and a McLaren that's not particularly great down the straights. Ooh, he's going to keep the nose there. But round the outside we go. Ooh, a lot of contact there as Ricciardo tried to defend, but wasn't having any of it, as Russell then tries to have a look past the McLaren. Definitely doesn't have the pace to do that, however. Round in the final couple of corners then to start the last lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and that is not going to help us one bit, as we just pick up a little bit more front wing damage on the car. Should be fine to the end of the Grand Prix, but it's definitely going to cost us a bit of downforce in the middle sector. But are we potentially going to see some last lap drag races like we've seen so often in the past around this circuit? We've had so many times in career modes where it's looking like we're going to get a last lap drag race, and then generally I seem to do what I call the micro Baku bottle around this track, where we just make a small mistake that just doesn't allow us to get close enough. Perhaps I've just made it now, but we are still trying to stick close to Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. We're trying to save up as much ERS as we possibly can as well. We have still got fresher, quicker rubber than the Aston Martin, but that thing has been an absolute weapon this weekend, and it looks like Sebastian Vettel is going to deliver the goods. The second midfield team to get a podium in 2 Grand Prix by the looks of it, as we head through in towards the castle section for the final time here in Azerbaijan. Can we potentially get a bit closer to Lance Stroll? Let's take a lot of curb through there like we have done throughout a lot of this Grand Prix. We're going to have to be brave if we want to get the back end, well, and the front end close enough to the Aston Martin there, as we're just going to have to use a little bit of overtake mode. Still got about half a battery though ready to utilise at the end of the lap, but I don't think we're going to be close enough to Lance Stroll. I think he's doing everything to try and look past Carlos Sainz at the end of this Grand Prix. I think though it is going to be Valtteri Bottas who is rounding the final corners and about to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. Rewriting the wrongs, I think must have been 2018, where he had obviously that last, or the penultimate lap puncture around this circuit. Around in the final couple of corners, though, yeah, we're nowhere near close enough to Lance Stroll. He might be close enough, though, to Carlos Sainz to go for something. I think Perez has looked past Charles Leclerc in front of him. I think Perez has done it, but we come through for P8 in the end.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
And unfortunately, that would be where F1 2020 would decide to crash at the end of this video there. I was absolutely heartbroken when it decided. I literally just got to this final screen. That's why there's been no replays in this video, unfortunately. But yeah, unfortunately, the game then it just got sick and tired of me after what was a brilliant, brilliant race there in the end. It does mean, unfortunately, the points are going to be slightly different next time out as we head in towards, I think it's the French Grand Prix. So obviously that is sort of the reason as to why that is going to be there as well. But yeah, a massive, massive apology. But obviously nothing I could do about it. And we had such a great race as well. You know, we had the likes of George Russell scoring points. Obviously the big shake-up with obviously Max Verstappen not making it to the end there. Vettel getting that podium as well. In my heart, this result still does count as the final results here from Baku. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, that's where there's no replay cameras in this video. Like I said, I can massively, massively apologise to you guys for that one. But hopefully you guys still did enjoy nonetheless. If you are new around here, please make sure you do leave a like, get yourself subscribed. Like I said at the start, a massive thank you for all the continued support at the moment on the channel. It really does mean the world to me. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon for round 5 of the year even, I should say, ready for the French Grand Prix. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.